All right, so if you are looking for some cool drums to use in your DAW, and in this case, we're gonna explore waveform even more. This is the Steven Slate Audio SSD 5.5, and this is a particular free, that's right, free VST that you can use in your DAW. All right, so let's go about installing for Windows. Now, if you have a Mac, then you can do it for Mac, but I'm gonna do it for Windows. Installer. Click on the download. Please select whether you wish to make this software available to all users or just for yourself. I'll say anyone because I've only got one user on here. It always brings up the message, user account control. And I think I can take a picture of this. Maybe, maybe not. Never know why it doesn't show this, but I guess it just doesn't show it. So do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Press yes. I agree. It is installing. This is so exciting. Okay, run Steven Audio Center. All right. It's gonna pop up with another message. You say yes. All right, let's see what happens. And then this is the part where you're gonna have to put in your email and your password. And it should load once you have that installed. Now, if you have not created an account yet, definitely go to the website that I was just at. And you have to create an account before you even get the download. So here we have current release 5.5.0. Gonna click install and click install. This is the free version of SSD 5.5. If you are a full version user, please check your login credentials, okay? Press OK. Please make sure your DAW and any system-wide VST hosts are closed, which I believe everything is closed. User license, that is very tiny. I'm not gonna read all it through. I'm just gonna say I agree. Selection for SSD cloud. Okay, so C program files VST. Okay, let's do it there. C program files. VST plugins, which is down here. So I'm gonna put it right in this folder so you can find yours, or you can pick any location you want to have it at. Just remember where it's located at. Select folder and then press install. Waiting for this install. And if you are getting value out of this so far, definitely just subscribe. I'm like, hey, this is a new channel and I'm looking forward to being able to explore different things, but all focused around Tracktion Waveform. All right, now that we have Waveform opened up, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go straight to new project, and then we're gonna put in SSD test 2. I did one test earlier just to really get kind of familiar with how this program works, or this VST works, because I had never used it before. And even though I've had people on my channel, on my other channel, ask about tutorials, I for some reason never did it before. So let me go ahead and do this now. I could have kept that track. Let's press Control Z, and this track is going to be track 1. We're going to set this, going to click plus sign over here, and then go to Steven Slate SSD Sampler 5. All right, and what you need to know about this is that, like I said, this is a free version. You want to go to create first, and then you want to click on one of these free kits that are provided. I'm going to use the 2 free dry and tight. Just click on it, double click on it, should load. And these are fully customable, so you can actually change the ADSR, you can change the tuning, the volume, the panning, but I'm not worried about all that right now. We're just gonna do simple things so that way you can get started in it. All right, so mix part is very important. If you wanted to go to multiple tracks and you want them to have multiple channels, you can do this. Another way to go about doing it, normally it'll pop up and ask you, do you want to, what is it called? Yes, create a multi-out rack for this plugin, or do you want to create a multi-out rack for this plugin inside the submix? So think of the submix kind of like creating a folder for your instruments, or creating a bus for all the instruments. So I can have a drum bus, which might be helpful. So that way, if I want to just mix the drums overall, I can do that. So I'm going to create a multi-out rack for this plugin inside the submix. And you're gonna notice it's gonna create all of these tracks. Now, what's important is that when we record, we can record on track 1, and then all the other tracks, they're gonna be basically processing. So it's kind of like we're recording all the data on one track, but it's splitting it up automatically audio wise across the other tracks. So, which is helpful. And I thought it was going to be a little confusing, which it was very confusing at first, because, and it's not just so much that SSD samplers is confusion, it's about waveform. Like, I'm getting used to this program, so used to being in Cakewalk. So this is a little different, but overall I am loving the platform and loving the DAW so far. And this is why this is called Waveform Explorer. So I have it added here, and I have my Impact LX Nectar set to control the sounds. Okay, all right, so we got sounds, of course. All right, I'm gonna set this BPM to 100 beats. You can click down at the bottom and then set that. And I'm gonna put down a metronome. All right, the metronome is gonna allow it to click while I'm recording. I can also set a count in if I want to, so I can do 1 bar count in, which is set on right now. And I can adjust the volume of the click, or I can emphasize. Can't talk. I can emphasize the down beats, or I can change the sound of the click. So we're not worried about all that right now. But so let's just go ahead and record something. Okay. All right. So something, you know, and I always like playing around with different grooves. The way I would really go about recording drums is to start off with like a little groove track that's kind of like this. And then you can go back in and add like ghost notes on other tracks to kind of make it seem a little bit more realistic. Or you can just add it in via the piano roll or notation. Okay, so what you can notice right now is that we hear the sound, but we only notice it coming out of track 1. But what I wanted to do is come out of these other tracks. In order to do that, I'm going to go down to the SSD sampler, and then I'm going to set these to separate outputs, right? And that's going to allow me to have more control over the audio output that's coming from each track. So output 1 stereo, I'm going to keep the drums, the bass drum rather. Let's start with the bass drum. I'm going to keep that on audio. Output 1 rather. Then I'm going to go to the snare and put it on output 2. So now there's an easier way to do this. If you hold down control after you click up top where it says snare, okay, this says snare direct, snare top, snare bottom, snare ring. Once there, hold down the control button, it'll allow you to select all of them. Then you can left click and then click output 2. All right. And let's hear first if we just got that. Now what's infatuating, or now what's kind of crazy that I really kind of don't like is that if I just wanted to solo this audio track, well, I've also have gotten rid of the MIDI data because the MIDI data has to be soloed as well. So now another thing you might want to do is create another track. And I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to create another track, or I can just use any of these tracks. But let's create another track, duplicate the track. Let's make this track, track 2. Let's make track 2 for the bass drum now. And in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the output of everything else on different. So I'm not going to start at output 1. I think it'll make more sense once I do it. So let's get it going. All right. So this is going to be control, kick in, kick out. Let's do those as output 2. All right. And then snare drum, I'm going to switch now. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to be able to solo these out in case I need to. I don't really need to, but it's always helpful to do that. And you let me know in the comments, is there an easier way to do this? It took me a little while to figure out what the heck I was doing with this program. So I'm gonna set these to output 3. And let's go over here and let's set the hi-hat. And I'll put the hi-hat and the ride on this same, no, let's put the ride separate. So I'll put the hi-hat on its own. I'll put 4, ride. And I don't see any other samples on here, but I'm gonna put the ride on 5. Put the overhead on 6. And let's put the roommate room B on 7. And then SLR put on 8. Okay. All right. So now I can solo or mute them right here, but I just want to see if I can actually do it now. Okay. Okay. Good. So now we're hearing the bass drum here. Okay, so we have got it. We got it perfect now. And you're probably like, dude, what are you doing? It's called Waveform Explorer for a reason. Because I'm exploring it, but I want to share with you as I'm exploring it. I'm sorry, yo, I cannot talk today. And now I have this little recorded groove. I'm not worried about quantizing it or doing anything else like that. But you can see that it was easy to set this up. Now, of course, you might have to do some organization to get this lined up where you want. Another process I would have did was, which I've done in Cakewalk too as well before, is to just record it on one track, create a few more audio tracks, and then copy the data to each track. So this one relies off of this one track. Now, of course, we have the submix. So this submix, I can add effects to it, EQ, but I can also add different effects to the track itself. For instance, like if I wanted to add a reverb to this snare drum, I can do that easily by clicking the plus sign here. I'm going to use waveforms effects. Go down here to the natural reverb, and then let's just see what happens. Up, rewind it. Okay, you can quickly see that I have a reverb on the snare. Notice it did not adjust reverb or add reverb to any of the other drums. It just added it to the snare itself. This comes in handy when you really want to just mix and fine tune each part of the instrument. Now you can also go through here and I can, you know, like if I wanted to change the snare, or if I wanted to do, what track is this? The hi-hats. If I wanted to do something different to the hats, I can do that as well. Let's see, the hats are over here. It says hi-hat. I can pan it straight up. I can pan it to the right. I can turn it up more. Let's see if that makes a difference. Turn it down. Okay, so even though you still hear the hats, you're like, well, I still hear the hats even when you turn it down. The hats are separated, but they also are coming through a few more mics. They're coming through the overhead mic, and they're coming through the 2 room mics. Now you just hear the soloed version of it. Panned all the way to the right. Pan all the way to the left. Double click it to have it straight up the middle. All right, I also can edit the sound. Okay, maybe I want to tune it some. Okay, just as a phase. Adjust the attack. Okay. Sustain. Okay. And so you can go from here and then you can just mix this thing the really way you want to mix it, which is perfect for this. Do you like the SSD? And do you use it in your DAW? It doesn't matter what DAW you use it in. Do you use it in your DAW? And have you tried this free version? Because this is fascinating to have free drums. Waveform does come with a little drum kit, but it doesn't come with a lot of sounds stock. So you might have to upgrade, purchase some of the little packs that they have. But they have plenty of sounds to choose from on their website. Just some things you have to purchase it. If you are new to this channel, once again, this is Waveform Explored. This is Just a Norm. Please love, like, share, subscribe to this channel. I decided to do this channel because I wanted to really focus on just one DAW. Like my Just a Norm channel, I focus on a lot of different things, and that can be great and sometimes it can be bad, but I wanted something to be more fine-tuned focused and just finding alternatives to Cakewalk, just in case Cakewalk does something weird. But so far, I love Cakewalk. It's my favorite DAW. If you know me, then you know that is my ride or die DAW. But Waveform, I'm really getting into it. And earlier, I just discovered some things that were just retarded. In a good way, as in, I can't believe this software can do this type of stuff. But I'm going to tease them out. So I need you to go ahead and join the family. Get on board. All right. I love you all. Be safe.